Blog Talk Radio.
Writing your book is the easy part. Promoting your book so readers can find and purchase it is the hard part. Welcome to the Author Chat Show, hosted by author-publisher Lynda D. Brown. Follow us at www.facebook.com/authorchat. And to contact the show to promote your book, contact me at theauthorchatshow@gmail.com. Stay tuned and listen to today's show.
Good morning and welcome to the Author Chat, to the Wednesday morning edition of the Author Chat Show. I'm your host, Lynda D. Brown. My guest today is author John Batson. John will be chatting with me about his book, Quake. Now, John is a prolific writer, talented entertainer, and the driving force behind Midnight Whistlers Publishers, an independent press located in Raleigh, North Carolina. An award-winning author, he is a four-time winner of the Lord Cape Fear Short Story Contest and twice awarded honorable mention in the internationally known Writers of the Future Contest for science fiction writers and Rusty Axe. His 10 novels and 3 short stories or collections are internationally provocative and refreshingly entertaining. As a member of the American Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishers, John has 5 Hollywood-produced musicals, 2 CDs, and a collectible vinyl record to his credit. John lives with his wife Eileen in Raleigh, North Carolina, and is currently writing his next novel. We'll be right back to chat with John about his books after a word from today's sponsor.
PrimeStar Publicity and Public Relations is a full-service firm ready to fill the needs of their clients. Owner Helen Cook has more than 32 years of publicity, public relations, advertising, and marketing experience. And she focuses her professional talents on working with her clients' strengths to create customized, strategic campaigns, whether their needs are great or small. Radio, TV, print, internet, publicity, marketing, creating a social media presence, branding, client positioning, author tours, speaking events. These are just some of the services PrimeStar provides for their clients. For a complete list of services and other information about the company, please visit our website, www.primestarpublicity.com, or email Helen at helen.cook@primestarpublicity.com, or phone 903-654-0938. PrimeStar's home office is located in the Houston, Texas area.
All right, welcome back to today's show. For those of you just tuning in, my guest today is author John Batson. This is John's first time on the Author Chat Show, so let's bring him on with a warm Author Chat welcome. John, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's an honor to have you on our show, John. I tell you, you are so busy. Oh, my God, the things that you've done. Since this is your first time on the show, let's get started with you telling us a little bit about yourself.
Well, let's see. I started out here in North Carolina, and then I moved to Los Angeles, where I became a songwriter. And I was there for 35 years writing 3-minute stories. And one day, I started to write a story that took longer to tell. And along the way, I discovered character and plot development and subplots and all kinds of storytelling things. And so I wrote my first novel. And having done that, I moved back to North Carolina.
Exactly. Writing is truly in your blood, isn't it?
It is.
Wow. And along with writing, you're also a songwriter, and you're doing musicals. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, I've had 4 musicals. The most best one to write, my favorite one to write, was Young Jenny Scrooge, which is actually a rewrite of the Dickens tale, only as a musical, and with an 11-year-old lead. Jenny Scrooge.
Right. And John, when did you actually start writing? Is this something you've done since childhood?
Well, I grew up on the folk songs of the era, Burl Ives, John Jacob Niles, and I thought nothing could be better than to play guitar and sing a song like that. So I started writing my own songs, and it just took off from there.
Okay. And I tell you, since we look like we're about the same age, this is a wonderful time for those creative types such as ourselves to really have a chance to get our work right in the front of the public without having to get permission from a lot of the gatekeepers, as I call them. Are you enjoying this new freedom that we have, being able to be independent publishers and to get our work out there?
Absolutely, and you are absolutely correct. You don't have to wait around for somebody else to give you permission. You can write your book, and once you're happy with it, put it out. Of course, you take your chance with the public, you know.
Exactly, right.
It's the sort of thing
but you know what?
Be responsible today.
Right, that's right. And even though it's a bit scary, even if you went through a traditional publisher, my first book was published through a traditional publisher, putting it out there under those circumstances was still a bit scary because you didn't have a clue if anybody was going to actually purchase it or not. But, you know, it's just being able to get your vision out there. I think, again, I tell people all the time on this show, now is a perfect time. If you have a book or a play or a song that you want to get out here, now is a great time to be able to do that. So, again, congratulations. Very prolific, all the things that you've done, John. This is just absolutely fabulous.
Thank you. I had some less than positive experiences with a couple of publishers, so I now publish these things myself. But that's not to say that, you know, if a good publishing contract came along that I wouldn't consider it.
Right. Before we dive into the book, since a lot of my listening audience are basically independent authors and publishers, tell us, would you mind sharing with us, without mentioning any names, some of the issues that you've had with traditional publishing?
Well, yeah, without mentioning any names. Sometimes a publisher will take exception to something you've written and wants you to change the way you've written it, or color illustration, a cover illustration that doesn't go along with the book. And that can actually cut across the message of your book. If Mars Quake, if somebody had, thought that some of the things in Mars Quake were impossible and asked me to take them out, I would have to say no.
Right.
So when you publish yourself, you are in control of that, and nobody else is going to tell you, what to do. I actually had one editor ask me why I didn't have more gay people in the book.
Oh, wow.
And that's I'm not one way or the other on the subject. It's just that it's my book, and that's the way I wrote it.
Exactly. and thank you for sharing that, because a lot of people think that we as self-published or indie authors and publishers, that we're just doing it because publishers aren't interested in working with us. That's really not the case. Everybody that I've spoken with on my show, and I've been doing this since 2011, it's exactly what you mentioned, loss of control. Once you give them control of your book, you sign that contract, they can pretty much change your entire vision. And you'll get a book that, and you go, this is not what I wrote, and you're at their mercy. So again, thank you for sharing.
What have you done with my book?
Exactly. No, who are you and where is my book?
Exactly. Whatever happened to my book?
Exactly. Okay, let's talk about your book. Because you've got first of all, I am a huge sci-fi fan. Again, showing my age, I'm a Trekkie from way back in the 60s with the original Star Trek. So I love sci-fi. And when I saw your book, Mars Quake, I got a little excited because this is definitely something that I love reading. So tell us how you got started, number one, in the science fiction genre, and then let's go right into how you started writing Mars Quake.
Oh, well, when I first started writing books, I actually dumped everything I had on my computer into the book and did some more research and came up with plots that were fact-based. They were actually things that you could look up and prove and things like that, and so I wrote conspiracy novels. Well, for one thing, nobody wanted to read a conspiracy novel, and for another thing, you had to then come up with an ending that solved it. And I didn't have a solution for the world today. So I started writing about a fictitious world, a science fiction world, and I got into science fiction and found out that I could write my own ending, and that is really what took off for me. I don't actually write, I just sort of try to keep up with the muse in my head.
Right.
Remember what the old saying, if you're waiting for inspiration, you're not a writer, you're a waiter.
So incredibly true. I've never heard that, but I love that. That is so true. So tell us about the book Mars Quake. Who's your prime character in there?
Well, I have two. The eye of the story is actually Tom Matthews, and he is an aide to the senator who's responsible for NASA's funding. And he meets the other lead of the story, Dr. Dana Wright, and she is an astronomer who saw something on Mars that she could not explain and wants to go and look through a bigger telescope and wants Tom to take her there. Okay. So what is across the face of Mars is really what they're trying to solve. But along the way, these two people who do not like each other at all fall for each other, and that is quite confusing for them. And so I did extensive research in order to do it, so everything that I wrote in there is actually true, except the fact, of course, of what's on Mars. I made that up.
Sure. Awesome.
The exciting thing I find about, yes?
Oh, no, go ahead, sweetie. Go ahead.
Oh, what people find interesting is I put Tom Matthews, who is actually aide to the senator. He's not a doctor. He's not an astronomer, but he knows more about what's on Mars than anybody else. And that's because he's got a memory that goes back for centuries.
Right. So not giving away a lot of your plot, but and this might be of interest to a lot of my listeners, Tom actually has past lives that helps him remember some of the things that's on Mars. Is that correct?
Exactly. He remembers that. He also remembers his past lives and who was with him, and he keeps meeting them. He keeps playing with the same team until he meets Dana Wright, she is a person he's never met before.
Great. Okay. And again, the title for those that are listening in, the title of the book is called Mars Quake. I'm speaking with author John Batson. And Mars Quake, is that part of a series, John?
You know, I thought about that because I could take it into a series, and that is something I'm considering. I'm considering a second novel.
Okay.
I'm not sure where I'd take it, but then again, I start every novel that way. The interesting thing is, when I first started this, I learned that Mars is not tectonic. It doesn't have quakes. And then I no sooner finished the book and sent it off to first edit, and I found out that there's actually evidence of a quake on Mars.
Oh, wow.
So
wow. So sci-fi that turns into reality.
Exactly. Reality following fantasy fiction.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, you have, again, very prolific writer. You have other books available on Amazon and I'm sure other online major retailers. I always have to remember to say that. The one that really strikes, it kind of makes me, not strikes terror in my heart, but it's kind of spooky looking, is your cover for Doll. It's called Doll Bodies, Doll Bodies, Doll Bodies. Yeah, that's a great cover. And Other Strange Sci-Fi Tales. What year did that come out, and what type of response did you get from the public on this book?
That came out 3 years ago, and actually that's a result of my wife saying, you have all these science fiction stories that are short stories. Why don't you put out a book of short stories? And one of those short stories is called Doll Bodies and is about aliens who come to Earth and mimic Earthlings. And the hero, who's actually kind of a random hero, he works in an office and is nothing special, but he runs across somebody that he actually spots as an alien being, and it kind of unravels before him from there. And that's a short story. There's 6 short stories in that collection, and they're of various types of science fiction. Some occur on other planets, some are on this planet in present time, and Doll Bodies is one of them. I'd actually like to expand Doll Bodies into a full book someday.
Exactly. And John, since you have some experience in Hollywood, have any directors or producers actually contacted you about maybe purchasing the film rights or the TV rights to any of your work?
Not yet, but there's a company called Ink Tip that is run by a couple of friends of mine, and Ink Tip is a place where people can put up their scripts for producers to look at, and Mars Quake has been looked at by more than a dozen producers. So it could be under consideration at this moment. I don't know.
Right. Okay, great. Wonderful. I'm very familiar, believe it or not, I'm very familiar with Ink Tip. I actually have an account on there myself. And one of my books, I have a couple of books out, and my book, Invisible Enemies, actually caught the eye of a Hollywood screenwriter that actually knows my audiobook narrator, who lives, they both reside in the California area. And he suggested Ink Tip as well. He actually wrote the treatment for me. I mean, that just, I'm still in shock about how much this man really embraced my book. He actually wrote the screen treatment for me, and I'm going to upload that on Ink Tip probably next week. So you find that to be a very reputable site for authors and those looking to try to sell their film rights or their TV rights?
Oh, absolutely. I recommend it.
Okay, great. Wonderful. That's great to know. Now, John, again, since you have so many books out, and I know this might be a little unfair, sort of like asking a parent which one is their favorite child. Do you have a favorite book out there?
You know, you're absolutely right. It is very much like that. Gosh, I know I have my unfavorites, but I've got so many are my favorites for different reasons. A couple of my books have female heroes that actually began as male, only the book didn't take off until I changed the sex of my hero. Oh. And that's interesting, because once I made them a girl, the heroes, the book took off. And one of those is Nina Knows the Night. It started out as something else. but it's about a girl that is tired of her neighborhood going to rack and ruin, so she goes out at night and kicks butt. And
oh, wow.
And she doesn't have superheroes. I don't write superpowers. She's not a superpower type. She's just her own intention and her own ability and her own. It's amazing what we're capable of when we get all worked up. And she gets all worked up and goes out and does in the bad guys.
Great.
So,
I love that cover too, John. She looks like a ninja warrior.
Exactly.
One of the things that I emphasize on this show is just how important book covers are. I always like to remind authors that every other book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, the Books A Million, these are your competition. So you have to be able to, when people log on and they see your cover, you have to be able to let people say, oh, my God, what is this about? And I mean, you know what I'm saying? They're not at a physical bookstore to pick it up and flip it over to read the back. But when they see a cover like Nina Knows the Night and also your Morris Quake, the next thing they want to do is read your book description to see if this is something they would be interested in purchasing. So book cover design to me is very, very important. I want to give you kudos for that.
Thank you. And I'm getting smarter because I met somebody here in the Raleigh area, actually, and I want to give him a plug. Charlie Breakiron of Breakiron Design is doing the cover for my next series, which is a 3-book series in sci-fi, and it's called Adventures of a Space Bum.
Oh, okay.
And he's doing all 3 covers, and they all 3 have, the same type and the same title idea and the same font, and pictures are similar, so you know it's part of a series.
Okay, great. Awesome. So, John, tell us, how can listeners, those that are listening in, how can they connect with you online?
Well, my site, first of all, my name is John Batson, Jon Batson, and I used to have johnbatson.com, but somebody took it. So now I have the real johnbatson.com. So I don't know who that other guy is, but I'm the real johnbatson.com, and that's how they can connect with me personally. For my titles, they can go to Amazon and just do a search, and they're all there for print and also for Kindle, and then several other sites as well. Many of my books are available for Nook and other readers. And you could just even call up your local bookstore and say, I want John Batson's Morris Quake, and they'll find it and they'll bring it in for you.
Exactly. Now, John, are your books available in your local library as well?
Not the library. The library has something against self-published people at this point in time.
Yeah.
I approached the local library system several times, and they told me flat out, finally, they said, go away. You're self-published.
It's amazing that you still have dinosaurs, and I'm just going to put it out there with that mindset that people are not reading self-published books. I just retired from my local library here in the St. Louis, Missouri area, and I was able to get my books in there, and they took off. I'm going to be, as a matter of fact, I stopped by there to renew my card not too long ago, and the branch manager waved me into her office, and she said, Lynda, do you have any more copies of your Invisible Enemy book? And so I said, well, I don't quite have. That book is 5 years old, so I'm not really, hustling it out of the trunk of my car anymore. And so I said, no, you can probably go on Amazon. I said, what's wrong? So she said, girl, your book came up missing again. This is the second time somebody has stolen my book out of the library because, it just really took off. So this is a heads up for a lot of these librarians that might be listening to the show. Guess what? People enjoy reading our books.
We need her to call my library so they can stock my book, and then people can steal my book from the library.
Absolutely, because the great thing about somebody stealing my books from the library, John, since my books are, like I said, I'm like you, I'm an indie publisher. They have to go through Amazon to purchase a copy of my print book. And with Amazon, you know, I don't have to give up that discount. You know, so like sometimes if you're using them as a distributor, I know with the first company that I used, which was Lightning Source, they wanted like for you to offer like a 55% discount. Well, okay, now you're taking my money. But I then switched over to CreateSpace, and I just let CreateSpace, which is the Amazon company, distribute all my books, and I get my whole fee. They have to pay for the retail price of my book, right? And so, of course, I directed her right to Amazon to order another copy of the book. Exactly. So, you might want to try this. As a matter of fact, I have a book on. It's an ebook. For authors, because I have books strictly for authors based on this show, the Author Chat Guide to, and I just released a book from my experience working at the library, how to partner with your library and sell more books. One of the ways I was able to, well, my books were already in there, so I just have to be honest and put that out there. Books were already in there, probably because I was an employee, and they were very open to assisting local authors here in the St. Louis Public Library, which is our city library, not the county. I have to also disclose that because St. Louis County has the same mindset as your library in Raleigh, North Carolina, where they're still hesitant to put in books by indie publishers. But one of the things that I did was I contacted the adult service provider, and you might want to jot that down, and I asked them if it would be possible to maybe come in and actually do a program on how to write a book or how to publish a book, and just offered my services. I ended up, John, doing 2 or 3 different programs there, and I actually ended up getting paid for the last couple.
Well, you know, I've been giving that kind of talk for 2 years now at the Durham Library.
Okay.
And so that's been a very popular series because people want to know how to publish these days.
Absolutely. And they still won't put the books in the library?
No, but what are you going to do? I'm going to get your book. That's what I'm going to do.
Exactly. Well, okay, so
then I'll call back with a success story.
Exactly. And okay, so when you do your series there at the library, oh wow, we're down to 90 seconds. Do they allow you to sell your copies of your books after your program?
No, but I usually get a little spike in my ebooks afterwards.
Oh, okay, great. All right, and one last thing, because one thing I love to do is share information with authors. Are you on a website by the name of Smashwords with your ebook?
Fastwords?
Smash, like you smash something? Mark Coker.
Oh, okay. Actually, Nina Knows the Night is on Smashwords.
Okay, great. Now, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but Smashword is actually a distributor for a company called Overdrive, which actually puts ebooks into the library's collections for download for digital downloads. Were you familiar with that?
No.
Check that out. Smashwords.com. Yeah, have Eileen. I think your wife pretty much handles most of your, behind the scenes things.
He does. And she says
have her check that. have her look into that, John, because Smashwords will actually, using Overdrive, will actually get your book in over 20,000 libraries, schools, and university libraries. So it's a very great way to get your ebook out there for libraries that are still a bit hesitant to deal with indie authors or publishers.
Uh-huh. Well,
okay.
That's something to look at right there.
There you go. It's always a way to get around something.
That's right. They'll show you every day is a school day.
Absolutely. Now, John, believe it or not, we've pretty much exhausted our 30 minutes. But before I let you go, do you have any events or anything coming up in the Raleigh, North Carolina area where our listeners might be able to come out and meet you?
Well, we're going to have a big release for the 3-book series, Adventures of a Space Bum, but we haven't decided on a where or when yet. So
okay.
I would just say connect up with me. You can connect up with me at Books, John Batson, author, and we're going to be announcing when and where that is. It's going to be a big thing. There will be wine.
All right.
Because I believe what Hemingway said, write drunk, edit sober.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Make sure, John, when you guys come up with a date and a venue that you post it on the Author Chat Facebook page. You're very familiar with that, and thank you so much for taking advantage of that. I created that page for authors to post information about their books, upload their book covers, their information about their signings, pre-releases. It's there for you guys to do totally free. Just get it out there.
Wonderful. Well, I will certainly do that.
Well, John, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on this morning. You have truly made my day.
Thank you so much, Lynda.
I really look forward to having you back on the show when your next series comes out, so make sure you contact me, okay?
Will do.
All right, sweetheart. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday morning, and thank you for coming on and sharing your book with us.
Take care now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. That was author John Batson, as he says, the real John Batson. And he spells that first name Jon, last name is B as in boy, A-T as in Tom, S as in Sam, O-N. And the title of the book that we discussed today was Quake, but we also discussed John's other books. A very prolific writer, which of course means that he has way more than 1 or 2 titles out there. You can download copies of John's books or purchase the paperback copies on Amazon.com. Currently, Quake is, let me pull that up so I can get you guys a price on that. I thought I had it right here in front of me. Bear with me 1 second. And he's got great covers on here. And again, for those of you that listen to the show on a regular basis, you know how I am about my book covers. Your book cover is the way to really get people to really embrace your book, to download or purchase the print copy of your book. Always remember that your competition, each and every other book in that genre on these websites. So you really seriously want to make sure that you have a great cover on there. Again, the title of John's book is Quake. The Kindle edition is $2.99, and the paperback edition is $12 currently and 34 cents, $12.34 on Amazon.com. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Wednesday morning edition of the Author Chat Show. I tell you, this show is just growing by leaps and bounds. It looks like I'm getting ready to start maybe a Thursday morning show just so that I can promote more authors. This is something that we enjoy doing. So please, if you have a book that you just released or a book that is not quite moving, that you'd like to get a little bit more publicity on, contact me at the authorchatshow@gmail.com. I'll be more than happy to get you on the show. We currently have a weekend show from 4 to 5. I'm sorry, from 4 to 5, Monday, Saturday, and Sunday. Then we just revamped our Wednesday morning show that airs from 10 to 10:30. There's a possibility that I might move to a Thursday or Friday morning show just so that I can accommodate more authors. And just like John mentioned, John and I discussed the fact that if you're interested in getting your book just getting the eyes on your book from movie producers and directors in Hollywood, contact me again, the authorchatshow@gmail.com, and I will give you the name of the website that we talked about, and I will also show you how you can actually upload your book information on there. It doesn't need to be a actual screenplay or a screenplay. It could actually be just the book itself. There are some things that you will need to do. So email me, the authorchatshow@gmail.com. I do have a special report available that will show you exactly how to do that. Again, thank you for joining us this morning. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, and we will catch you back here on, let's see, I do have a guest coming on this Saturday. I will be chatting with author Bob on the money nerve. So we'll see you back here on Saturday on the Author Chat Show. Good. Enjoy your Wednesday. Bye.